you can't be on air as a as a journalist, as a arbiter of facts, and also be people wondering what's your actual agenda when they're confronted with things like that. Like it's crazy that he thought that wouldn't be a problem, and it's crazy that he thought that wouldn't be surfaced.
Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of Look Forward. I'm your host, Jay. I'm here with my co-host, Brad.
Hello.
All right, guys, we're back. Let's get right into it. We got a big docket, unfortunately. That's how bad things are. I don't know if this guy's Italian. I'm not sure. There's no way for us to know.
No way we could possibly identify.
No one could know. CNN throws Chris Cuomo down a flight of fucking stairs, figuratively, as he threatened to do to that one guy who came up to him in a bar. Called him Fredo. That's still one of my favorite clips. I wasn't mad at Chris Cuomo. That was a thing. I was like, no, that feels right. No, fuck that guy.
I'm knowing your great respect for Italian stereotypes. I'm surprised that the docket headline wasn't like Chris Cuomo gets gabagooled off of CNN Airways or something like that.
I'm not an idiot. I'm smart. I'm not dumb, and I want respect. I'm not dumb like they say. Yeah, look. Every time Chris Cuomo gets out of the news, they pull him right back in. I'm running with every Italian stereotype.
I mean, I hate to say it, he is kind of the Fredo because like Andrew's definitely like the Sonny, right? And I don't think they have a Michael in the Cuomo family unless there's some third Cuomo brother that we're not aware of that's not in politics. So who else is he going to be?
Yeah, I hate to say it, but yeah, I think he might be. That's unfortunate. But I'm not gonna call that. I'm not gonna call that guy Fredo to his face because that guy would bench press me off of a
also
through
true.
a wall. I'm good. I'm good, dude. It's like he would just toss me.
Yeah. To be clear to Chris Cuomo, this is only by process of elimination. I don't think that you're actually like a Fredo.
I don't need that smoke.
Watches.
Yeah, I don't need that smoke.
I don't need
Chris.
him to like coming through his computer screen. And
like
try to throttle me.
Right, a third square comes up. Oh fuck. How did you get on here? I'm everywhere. Like, oh no. No, but look, CNN fired him. Initially, and I hadn't seen this. Initially, what everyone was talking about is because he was helping Andrew Cuomo after Andrew Cuomo got busted for sexual harassment, assault, however you want to play that. We'll go with harassment for now. And basically, he was like calling some of the victims or calling like people close to them being like, hey, what information you have on my brother and shit like that, which is obviously completely unacceptable as a
it's unacceptable as a private citizen. It's doubly unacceptable as someone who is in the news media.
Right. And so that was obviously like people were like, well, I think any logical thinking person's like, yeah, no, that is unacceptable. Like this guy's got to go. It's interesting to watch other news organizations that are not really news, like Fox, like, oh, look at what's going on between CNN and Chris Cuomo. Like, no, CNN did exactly what they should have done. Like that is actual journalistic integrity. Not that Chris Cuomo is a journalist. He's not. But like, they did exactly what they should have done. Like, dude, you can't be informing your brother and then like still working for a news organization. Even if you're not covering his stories, it's still not a good idea because you don't know connections you have to other people inside CNN.
The irony is that like, though Cuomo was trying to help his brother behind the scenes, like he never tried to run down the case against his brother on the air, which is what Fox News does every night when it comes to any allegation that's made against any Republican politician.
Right. They are in the business of defending them no matter what. Right.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no, I agree. It seems it seems arguably silly from their perspective. I'm like, yeah, CNN sucks. We all know that, but like, relax. You suck way worse. Like, like before you get on your high horse, don't. So there's that part of it. But then I saw this sort of bit that I thought was really fascinating is apparently Chris Cuomo, according to this article in People, they're saying that Chris Cuomo also was accused of Chris Cuomo, not Andrew Cuomo. Chris Cuomo was accused of sexual misconduct in the days before his termination at CNN, which makes it seemingly doubly bad, right? Like, hey, dude, you can't do that shit for your brother. Oh, you're also being accused of sexual assault or harassment? Yeah, all right. Or sexual misconduct, it says. So, that could be either one. Like, maybe they were just like, yeah, no, we don't need another Andrew Cuomo situation. So I don't know if it's all about him helping his brother or if this was sort of the tipping point or this was the major thing. But it feels like those two things combined was probably a death knell for him.
I mean, I do think it was honestly more of the helping his brother. Like when the information came out, when the reports came out about exactly what he was doing behind the scenes, like that's like, no, you can't, you can't be on air as a, as a journalist, as a arbiter of facts, and also be, people wondering, what's your actual agenda when they're confronted with things like that. Like it's crazy that he thought that wouldn't be a problem. And it's crazy that he thought that wouldn't be surfaced at some point. Like, if you want to take if it's one thing if you were like, hey, I'm going to take a leave of absence to help my brother, and then you help him behind the scenes and then come back, like maybe that's better. But like, it's not great, but I feel like it's more defendable than what he did. From his perspective, I don't understand what he was thinking aside from, well, I got to help my brother, which I get. I understand the knee-jerk nature,
right? The visceral,
like he's blood or whatever, and it's fine. But people are like, oh, if your brother's in trouble, you'd help him. Like, yeah, but my brother's not the governor of a state, and I'm not like a prominent news anchor. Like it's you can't, like, the need to help one sibling doesn't exist in a vacuum. Like you have to play with with the facts at hand.
Like, hey, Brad, your brother is a serial killer. Well, I gotta help my brother. Like, you can't just speak without context. That's stupid. Like, you might as well just lie at that point. Like, it's just silly. So yeah, no, I think the idea that you're right. Like, I get the notion of, hey, wanting to help your brother. That totally makes sense. If people are like, and that's the end of the statement. Like, that's not the end of the statement. Like, it can't be, because he is in a position where he could. Now, granted, he never went on the news and was like, my brother's innocent, you guys are fucking terrible, blah, 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 which would obviously be stupid and like fireable offense, like on air. Be like, they just yoke you right off. But which I would have paid to see. Like, that's pretty good, right? Like, that's good TV. But he didn't do that. But if you're saying, well, he was like in the background but he wasn't directly reporting, that's okay. But he has influence at CNN. So he could be like to his buddy Don Lemon, like, hey man, don't ask him about that, or like try to push people off leads and shit like that. Like, he could, or just as Chris Cuomo, the TV personality, he has a lot of cachet and he could push and move people behind the scenes, like in the case, not even CNN people, right? Like, that's not good. So no, I think he has to be fired. But the idea that he also has a sexual misconduct allegations on top of that is really not a good look for him. And my guess is, if they were debating whether or not to fire him, when that came out, they were like, fuck this, we're done. Like, there's just there's nothing to fight over about
that could speak to my surprise, because I was surprised, like, the distance between when they suspended him and when they fired him was only like 3 days. Like
it was pretty fast.
It happened really fast, actually. So like, I was expecting a much more prolonged investigation into his alleged conduct. So you're right. Maybe that did speed things up a little bit, and it just made
is this real?
A little bit easier.
Like, is this real? I don't care. Who cares? I don't give a shit. Get out of here. We're done. We're done with these Cuomo brothers. Like we had enough. So it could have just been they were just gun shy about having to even battle on that, and it was just like forget it. And look, Chris Cuomo, like. Look, I'm not going to pretend like I've always hated Chris Cuomo. Like, no, like he's definitely had some moments where I'm like, he's kind of given the business to Republicans, which I appreciate. And I think sometimes he's fair when he's giving the business to Democrats. I think he also is one of those guys, which really kind of pisses me off. He tries to equate them as if they're exactly the same threat level, which drives me fucking nuts. I'm like, dude, knock it off. Like they're not.
The thing that he always did that drove me nuts is he always would push somebody, but then when they evaded him, like he wouldn't push further unless he had an actual palpable disdain for the person or the answer that he was given. Like you could tell when he was really pissed off, but he was also one of those ones that were just like, well, it's damning of them to, for me to ask the question and them to obviously be evading it, then for me to follow up. Like, no, you should still press them. Like I do not understand the need that interviewers have when they get to points in the interview where they know they're going to ask the question that they really want an answer to, but they know that it's going to be difficult to get. Why don't you just stop the interview in its tracks and not let them move on until they dig down deep into it? I mean, it might result in them leaving early, but I feel like too many interviewers want to get all their questions in as opposed to substantively, investigate the important ones, which drives me nuts always.
Yeah, I feel like your heavy hitter questions should be right in the middle of your list of questions, right?
Ease them in, and let them get comfortable, and then bam.
You're doing good. Kids, all right, cool. Good bills and Congress. Yeah. By the way, who's that whore you were sleeping with? Like, oh shit, I don't want to talk about it. I gotta go. And like, all right, cool. We got like 5 questions in, and then we hit you with the bomb, right? So. Yeah, I agree with you. I never understand why they do that. There's a couple of journalists who will do that. They're like, I don't give a fuck about whether we make it to the end of this interview. I'm gonna blow your ass up. And I appreciate that, right? And they are few and far between. But yeah, I mean, look, people often give CNN, I think, a harder time than the other two like mainstay cable channels, right? Like people go, oh, MSNBC is liberal, and they're the worst if you're on the right. And Fox News is right wing. They're the worst if you're on the left, right? But CNN is somehow worse. I'm like, no, Fox is definitely the worst.
Yeah.
CNN is definitely the second worst. And then MSNBC is the third worst, right? Now, it's not just because I'm a liberally minded person and you're a liberally minded person. It's not just that. It's that on Fox, their whole job is defending the positions of the Republican Party. Full stop. Doesn't matter what they do. They are never in contrast with them more than about one day before they get their new talking points. They're like, oh shit, sorry. What did we say yesterday? My bad. Anyway, we fired Shep Smith and we're back online, right? Like that's what they do. They had one guy who was like fighting and they put that dude on at like 3:00 in the afternoon when no one is watching the news, right? So they're definitely the worst. CNN is the second worst because their biggest problem is they are desperately trying to thread the middle on things that are obviously one-sided sometimes. Like, dude, your job is not to call it even Steven all the time. Your job is to call it out when it's either true or it's not true. Like, if one side says the moon is made of cheese and the other side says it's made out of moon rocks, you can't just be like, well, these are both equally reasonable opinions. They're not. They're not.
My bigger issue with CNN is the fact that not only do they try to thread it down the middle, but they do it by hiring like some of the worst people. Like, how the fuck is Rick Santorum like doing shit on CNN still?
No, I think he's gone now.
That they bring in her. Oh, is he now? Oh, well, it took him long enough.
Yeah, I think he was we should kill all Native Americans or something. People were like, all right. Like, it was something like egregious that he did.
Yeah, Kayleigh McEnany, became the prominence on CNN. And they hire all these people with these conservative viewpoints that speak in Fox Newsisms, and they're just like, this is fine. Like this is what we need to do to be balanced. I'm like, no, it's not. Like, stop having people that just blatantly lie on your airwaves.
Dude, what's the guy? He's on fucking CNN. Yeah. Hold on. I just want to make sure I get this right. Yeah, dude. They've got Alex Castellanos on there. You know who Alex Castellanos is? The guy who
I know who Alex Castellanos
right,
is.
like he's most famous. Alex Castellanos is most famous for his bullshit ad that he created back in the late 80s? No, 1990. When his re-election campaign for Jesse Helms with the white man's hands like balling up the piece of paper because he lost his job to a minority. That guy's a racist piece of shit. Right? Like, he is a hardcore racist piece of shit. Oh, Alex Castellanos, what do you think about what the Democrats are doing? Oh, gee, let me guess what your opinion is. Fuck that guy, dude. Like, threading the middle doesn't mean you put a bunch of right-wing dirtbags. Rick Santorum, like you mentioned, that guy is on there. Why? Like, there's no Republicans you could find that are reasonable human beings. I mean, maybe those are the best ones they could find, which is saying something, I guess. But, like, I don't know. Why don't we pick Alex Castellanos? Oh, is Jesse Helms' ghost not around?
They've been given like Chris Christie hits lately as he's in the midst of promoting his
all
book
of them,
sold,
by the
like,
way,
5,000 copies.
Right, all
week,
of them.
So.
I'm like,
yeah.
And Chris, Chris Christie.
No,
is
Chris Christie went on MSNBC to hawk his book. And that's gross also, but that's one thing. Like CNN,
but they lit his ass up
with CNN. Yeah,
but
I
they
think
lit his
CNN
ass up
has
on
him
MSNBC.
as like a regular commentator now, essentially.
Probably. I don't doubt it, which is crazy. Like, that guy got a person killed by playing bullshit with a bridge.
It's true,
right? Like, why is that guy considered a reasonable person? And he's also like, oh, I may run in 2024. I probably won't endorse Donald Trump, but like, maybe I will.
That's all I do.
Yeah, of course.
But did you catch that stat, by the way? His book sold like 5,000 copies his first week on sale.
5,000?
Yeah.
Knock it off. He didn't even play the trick. Do people know what the trick is, right?
The trick is you buy it all yourself. Yeah.
Right.
And then give them away.
Yeah, you buy all your political, you write a bullshit book, ghostwriter. You write your own book, right? You pay some guy to write your book. Then yes, if you're a politician, you buy all those copies. I believe you only need to buy 60,000 books, and then you give them away as presents, right? And if you sell or buy yourself, depending on your perspective, 60,000 books, you make it onto New York Times bestseller list. Then you can say, hey, it's a New York Times bestseller. And because it's a New York Times bestseller, more people will buy the book. This is my goal. By the way, this is my move when I write a book. This is the book.
So basically you want to get rich first, then write a book so you can buy the book and then you can sell the book.
And get richer. Yes,
there you go.
That is correct. See, Brad, you can work in politics. This shit ain't hard. You got it. So Alex Castellanos is on CNN. Yo, that's insane. Like, why look, you want to have a balanced fucking panel. Why don't we have David Duke and Louis Farrakhan on there? Like, what the fuck are we doing? The white part of the cookie and the black part of the cookie. Come on. It'll make you nauseous. So like, it's ridiculous. But look, Chris Cuomo deserved to be fired.
Yep.
Yeah, sorry, not
100%.
Sorry, not sorry. As I wrote this, no one has ever seen. Yeah, look at Brad's face. Like he's trying to play it easy. No one has ever seen Brad and Elon Musk in the same room. I wonder why.
I'm a little insulted about this, and here's why. So this morning, I had to work from home today. So if you listeners are watching the video, you can tell my hair is not exactly its normal beautiful coif that normally is, because I didn't put the effort in this morning. But even in this configuration, my hair is way better than like the Roger from Doug haircut that Elon Musk rolled out the other day.
Roger from Doug. I love that meme. He looks terrible. What are you doing?
Yeah,
you look like a
awful.
fucking neo-Nazi. Yeah. Stop that haircut. Like, look, I am a bald black man. When I take the time and I shave my head, unlike right now, I'm letting nature take its course. But when I normally shave my head, it's reasonable. White guys, you got to stop this haircut, man. Don't shave the underside of your head with the fucking toupee type of shit on top. You look like a fucking neo-Nazi. If you are a neo-Nazi, that's cool. People should punch you in the face. But if you're not, please don't get that fucking Roger haircut. It's bad.
Yeah, it's really bad. No. He's also stealing the best takes off of Twitter. Elon Musk is. As if he doesn't have enough in this world.
Right, and Brad, a man who once tweeted, I didn't realize you were still alive at Bernie Sanders," and then Elon Musk stole his idea. What a dick! He never tweeted that. Relax. He just sent that to me. But yeah, Elon, he's not a good guy. Elon Musk suggested that there should be an age limit for running for political office. Brad, you also share this ageist sentiment. Tell us why you're cool with being look forward to Elon Musk, the Elon Musk of TNT Studios.
I wish I was look forward to Elon Musk. I'd be rich. It said Jay is rich, and he's actually the Elon Musk of the show, and he owns Teslas. So, no, yeah,
that's true. But I'm never getting that fucking haircut.
I mean, I don't think you have a choice in the matter.
Fuck you, Brad. Fuck you, Brad. Continue.
Yeah, we should actually absolutely have age limits for politicians for a variety of reasons. I actually wasn't even going from the senile dementia standpoint, which if you look at a few politicians I don't know, Chuck Grassley, for example, that we can make that argument for.
Yo, what is going on with Chuck Grassley's Twitter account? It's just random letters.
He's insane. That's one guy who I can say beyond a shadow of a doubt does not have a staffer tweeting for him.
Oh no, 100% he does not.
Or if he does, it's like his junior staffer, but Chuck Grassley's junior staffer is 68 because that's how Chuck Grassley's office rolls, I would assume. But no, not even from the old people aren't quite as sharp, because there's some sharp old people Joe Biden's lost his fastball, but he still doesn't quip get by him very often.
Bernie Sanders, Sanders is a smart older dude.
Yeah,
it is
absolutely. More from the standpoint that people in that we have the average age in the Senate is in their 60s, and those people generally are not cognizant enough or just aren't legislating to issues that affect the people 2-3 generations behind them, and that's a serious problem. We need more politicians on every level of government electing the body politic or representing the body politic more honestly, and people always talk about diversity in races and ethnic groups, which I also fully support, but I think that age also needs to be part of that equation as well. We need a lot more politicians in their 30s and 40s than we do people running in their 50s, 60s, and 70s, or in the case of Chuck Grassley, their 80s, their late 80s. Yo, what are you doing?
He's got his finger on the pulse of his own pulse. I think he's checking his own pulse,
which is
every day.
barely hanging on for your life.
Jesus Christ, am I still alive?
If Chuck Grassley wins re-election, he is going to die in office, right? There's no doubt about
it. That is inarguable. It's inarguable. Yeah. Of course he will. And look, that's not shitting on Chuck Grassley because he's old. That's shitting on Chuck Grassley dude, fucking retire. Just put another Republican goon in your place.
Don't you want to enjoy the very few twilight years you have left? Do you really want to be working in the Senate when you're in your 90s? Does that sound like fun?
Yeah, because Chuck Grassley's 88? 87?
Don't you have pigeons to tweet about? That you could be doing at home in Iowa? Wouldn't that be way better?
You would think.
I'm telling you.
No, Chuck Grassley, yeah, I was right. Chuck Grassley is 88 years old. That is insane.
You know who's a guy who had the good sense to step away at the right time? And I thought about that.
Isn't he on the docket this evening?
Is he on the docket? No, he's not on the docket. I'm not even talking about who we're going to talk about later, because that's, I guess he's stepping away at the right time considering where he's going. I thought about this week. It's one of the many things I thought about in the wake of this news that is actually not on the docket. Bob Dole stepped away at the right time.
That's right.
Bob Dole was in his early 70s, and he ran for president against Bill Clinton, and he lost. And what did he go back to the Senate? He's like, nah, I'm good. I've served a long political life. I'm in my early 70s. I don't really, even though I'm the Senate Majority Leader, like I feel like I've given all I need to the country, and I'm good. I'm just gonna enjoy the last 20 years of my life. That's what he did.
Yeah.
And I wish there were more people like Bob Dole that stepped away at the right time.
Yeah, just let it go.
Yeah.
I mean, look, we're shitting on Chuck Grassley, but like Dianne Feinstein is 88 as well.
Yeah. And also probably running again for her seat when it comes up, which again is insane.
Yeah. And she's not, no offense, but her or Chuck Grassley are not that sharp. They're not.
I mean, again, literally a Republican talking point, if you remember, during the recall this past fall for Gavin Newsom was, hey, if you elect a Republican governor, guess who gets to appoint the replacement senator when Dianne Feinstein dies? Like, that was literally a campaign platform point for Larry Elder. Like, they were literally pontificating on her death.
Yeah. I mean, she's 88. She's 88.
I'm not faulting him for it.
Right. Like, it's a shitty
need to pay attention.
Right. Like, it's a shitty thing to do, but I get it. Like, yeah, it makes sense. Totally makes sense.
Like, the reason that we're urging Stephen Breyer to go away is because he's in his 80s. And we can't, and like, as we just saw with Ruth Bader Ginsburg, you can't trust someone to live that long right now.
No, you're going to kill over right after Trump gets rereelected. And we don't need that. Yeah. We don't need it.
Not at all.
No. And also, could you just get out of there before the end of before the midterms? You fucking psycho. Please. I know. Look, I get it. I understand. And this isn't so much about Musk. I mean, Musk is just doing it because he's like kind of like throwing a jab at Bernie, which is just a douchey
I mean, this is because Musk stole my tweet. That's the only reason that this is on the docket. He's an asshole. I'm trying to build up that follower count on Twitter. And Elon Musk, who has millions of followers, like, I'm going to just find the best stuff and not credit the original writer. Yeah, fuck you, Elon Musk. That's what I have to say. What a dick.
What a dick. He stole my tweet.
He did.
That's
that incredibly original thought that I had that no one's ever had before, that politicians... I moved the age limit down to 65. Like, once you get a senior discount, get out of Congress. I don't need you there anymore.
Look, as far as I'm concerned, the second you can join AARP means you can't be in Congress. Like, you can't do it. So look, but I think there is something to that, right? And it's not just like being like like ageism or something like that. I do think, like, you're talking about legislating on things that are dealing with these coming generations and stuff like that, which is a completely valid point, right? It's also having the intellectual sharpness, and I look. We're all getting old, man, and we're all going to experience a lack of sharpness especially about new things that are coming up. Like, that's a fact, right? Mm-hmm. It's just human nature. I don't think we have to pretend like that's not true, right? Like, well, I'm not. I had someone tell me, well, I'm not old. I'm like, you're 75. What the fuck? If you're not old, who's old? Like, you're old. It's fine. Just deal with it, right? Like, just grow up, right? Even at 75, grow up.
Yeah.
But my thing is, there's also like new technology and new understandings that are happening. Like, are there people in their 80s who can truly appreciate the nuance of what it means to be a trans person in the modern era? Yeah. Absolutely. Is it a chance that they're going to have a harder time understanding it? Now, does that mean you put a bunch of 20-year-olds on the Supreme Court? No, it doesn't. But maybe there should be more people in their 40s who are, right, who maybe went through the gay movement, like had friends, openly gay friends or openly trans friends and stuff like that, that when they go to legislate these things, they're legislating from a human perspective, not just like, I'm reading a document and I agree or I disagree with this, right? These guys are supposed to be representatives of us as the citizenry. And it's a little insane to think that Chuck Grassley can truly understand what the rest of the country is going through at 88 years old, where you've been in Congress for 500 years. Like, it's fucking silly.
Here's another one. In the coming years, they're going to have to figure out and legislate the blockchain. I'm 37 and I can barely understand what the fucking blockchain is. Right. I barely have a grasp on that. And you expect 88-year-old Chuck Grassley to be able to make an educated legislative decision on what we should do about the blockchain?
Right.
Get the fuck out of here.
Right.
Yeah.
I own Dogecoin. I have no idea. I'm like, is it up? Is it down? Is it gonna make it to $1? Probably not. Right? Like that's it. I don't fucking understand that shit. Could I sit and watch a number of YouTube videos or read some stuff and like get a basic understanding without having to like do a super crazy deep dive? Yeah, sure. Could Chuck Grassley, like you said? I doubt it. And that doesn't mean I'm smarter than Chuck Grassley, but me at 88, I guarantee you I won't fucking understand how the fuck robot maids work or whatever the fuck happens by the time I'm 88 years old. I don't know. Like Total Recall. Like I don't fucking understand that shit.
Let me tell you something about people in their 80s. So my grandfather, who passed away recently, worked at least part-time into his 80s. And do you know why he stopped working part-time, Jay? Do you know, not because he had to, because he wanted to, because he was bored. But do you know why he eventually stopped working part-time, Jay? Why he stopped going to Molecraft to do shit 2 days a week down there? Because
my guess is driving.
Oh, no. He was cool driving. He didn't care.
Everyone else on the road was terrified, but whatever. Brad's grandfather was fine.
He actually wasn't. He wasn't a bad driver for an old guy. I will admit. He, a little slow, but that's always what happens with older folks usually. Yeah. No, he left his job because they forced every employee in the company to get direct deposit, and they didn't pay them with the regular paycheck anymore. And he was so not wanting to figure out direct deposit, which there's nothing to figure out. Like,
just give me a routing number, my nigga.
It's simpler. It saves you a trip to the bank.
Right.
That he's like, you know what? I'm just going to stop working. That's your average 80-year-old.
Right. Like, yeah, fuck this. Oh, what's blockchain? Yeah, I got that. Let's get into this Bitcoin shit. Get out of here, dude. Like, no.
Yeah, that's your average octogenarian. These are not the people that we want in our legislatures.
Right. Now, I will say this, it's age is not a definitive precursor to opinions, right? I will say that. It's not necessarily a precursor to an opinion, because you've got a lot of not 80-year-old people on the Supreme Court and their opinions are fucking trash. Like, you would think,
and you have a lot of not 80-year-olds in Congress that are like fighting the urge to legislate for, helping climate change like crazy. So,
right. Yeah. They're like, because my grandkids will fucking be alive, you assholes, right? So, yeah, I think largely, even though he stole your idea, I think largely Elon Musk is correct. He's a dick, and he's not saying it for the right reasons, but he is absolutely correct. There should be a, I guess, moratorium on people over 70. Is 70 the right age, you think? Like, that's the top spot?
I think 70 is fair. Like, I was being a little flip when I said 65. Like, I think 70 is a good solid age because you still have some years as a quote unquote senior to legislate for senior interest. I think that's totally fair. Or at least, how about this? How about you can't run for office when you're age 70 or older? So if you're 69 and you win election, you can serve your term, whatever, that's fine. Supreme Court, lifetime appointment or 72 years of age, whichever comes first. Like, let's get some fresh blood.
Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. So you're advocating once they hit 70,
the whole 9 yards. The whole.
Oh, so once you hit 72. So wait, for SCOTUS, you're saying once they hit 72, like that's it? You're gonna go?
Get out of here. Yep.
I like that.
Get out of here. And people say, oh, then they'll just elect people when they're 35. And I'm like, well, as long as their credentials are legitimate, okay.
What do I give a fuck?
Shit. Like I really don't
like they got
care.
a bunch of 55-year-olds in there or pieces of garbage. Like, who cares?
Right.
You think there's not a bunch of pieces of garbage 35-year-old right-wingers? Of course there are. They got the fucking Elon Musk haircut.
Another thing is like made me think about it was like the judge in the Rittenhouse case was in his what? He's in his like late 70s as well. Yeah. And he doesn't know how to fucking use an iPad. And that's and he's trying to rule on legitimate evidence in a trial.
It's because it adds data in when you zoom in. Yeah. It adds.
That's an insane thing to say.
It's fucking
What
nuts.
are you doing?
That guy is the guy who watches was it NCIS, and he's like, the way they explain technology is accurate.
Yeah.
Like, he's like, they are nailing it on this show. Oh, double hacking? 2 people typing on the same keyboard? Totally makes sense. Yeah. That's what double hacking is. It's not a thing, guys. But that judge is like, this show is really, really explaining technology quite well. I watched that movie Hackers. It felt really like being inside of a computer. Like that's not how any of that works. I love that movie, but it's fucking ludicrous. Yeah. So, Brad/Elon Musk. Correct. Bradlon Musk. That's going to be your new name. And I'm not even going to look at you. I'm just going to look down because I don't want to see the contempt that you have for me as I said that.
I don't. Whose last name is Musk anyway? What a shitty last name.
You know whose last name is Musk? A guy who owned an emerald fucking mine and gave his kid tons and tons of money as his kid pretends like he didn't grow up rich. Oh, my dad was just an entrepreneur. Yeah, your dad owned a fucking emerald mine, dude. Shut up. You make great cars.
By the way, there's another guy who rebounded heavily. Have you seen like images of him when he was at PayPal with Peter Thiel?
Oh, dude, disaster. He looked like me.
So bad.
He had my fucking hairstyle. Again, go fuck yourself, Brad. Like, just go fuck yourself. No, he had the fucking nature's razor going on. And then he got fucking rich and was like, fuck this. Fucking glue that shit to my head. Yeah. I get it. I will have a beautiful flowing mane if this show ever takes off. That's how you'll know I made it. Because one day I'll come and be like, holy shit, what happened? I'm like, technology. I'm rich. LeBron James is so rich he recovered from male pattern baldness.
That's true. He did.
I get it. Yeah, dude, he looked disastrous when he worked at PayPal. Disaster. Yikes. All right, next up. Look, man, money will do it for you. Next up, January 6th panel, and we just pretend like that shit is not true. Like, even Jeff Bezos was like, "Nah, I'm just gonna keep it baldy. Like, I'm not gonna glue shit."
I mean, look, I respect it. I respect Jeff Bezos for Jeff Bezos is not an attractive man, and he hasn't done anything to try to help his cause. So,
no, look,
more power to him.
Look, at the same time, there are no ugly billionaires, Brad.
That's true.
That's not how the world works.
You're not wrong.
That guy's ugly. Is he? Yeah, Jay-Z's ugly too. Look who he's married to. Beyonce. Okay. He looks like Joe the Camel from fucking Pack of Cigarettes. He's fine. He'll be fine. And I love Jay-Z. All right, next up, January 6th panel reveals Mark Meadows loved the idea of replacing state electors with Trump fans. Or as I wrote, Mark Meadows heads down the road to criminal contempt of Congress. So this fucking piece of shit decided that he's no longer going to work with the Jan 6 committee because he's just like, they're not buying into my bullshit lies. And so they come to find out this guy sent like a text message, and he said, quote, "I love it," to the idea of praising a member of Congress's idea of ditching state electors who wouldn't overturn the election. So he's like, "Yeah, I love it. That's if it is what you say it is, I love it." Right. So this guy,
especially later in the summer.
Yeah, exactly. Don Jr. should go to prison. For
many reasons.
Many reasons. One of which is that his deadlift is terrible. But
I knew that's
fucking worst. It's the worst. It's the worst one. It's like, dude, your back is rounded like a cat. Get out of here.
It is not a coincidence that this news from Mark Meadows, that he's not going to be cooperating any further with the committee, comes after the trial date was set for one Stephen K. Bannon's trial for contempt of Congress. Jay, do you know when that's going to be?
It's like 7 months from now.
It's in July of next year. Yeah.
Get the fuck out of here.
Because I guess the federal court system doesn't care to move with a sense of urgency. Like, isn't there a way we can bump certain things up to the front of the line?
Yeah, you could. Like, and this is what drives me crazy. I don't ever want to hear people say that, like, and this is not just white privilege, this is also rich privilege, right? Like, dude, these guys try to commit treason. I give them 7 months. I'd be like, you got 7 days. 7 days.
Like
get your trial shit
this
together.
When this shit works,
Let's go.
When this shit works and they do this, they try this again and they actually pull it off, none of us can be surprised. Like, none of us are allowed to be, react with shock. Like if the legal system can't act to snuff stuff like this out in an expedient manner, then why the fuck do we even have it? What's it for? Like if you can't protect the levers of the operation of the country, then why do you exist? You're pointless.
Right. I agree. Point. Look, and there's another thing to be said here, which is while I agree with you 100% that none of us should be surprised, there will be some people who are like, the Dems didn't do enough. Like, as far as like, not as far, like, we had a conversation last week about them not codifying like certain laws to prevent like Trump from running. That part people are correct about. Like, like when that comes out, like they would be 100% correct about, and I will agree with that to the end of my days. But I mean, like, as far as like if Joe Biden, like, well, Joe Biden just wasn't popular enough. Don't do that, because that's not what you're going to see. Joe Biden will again beat him with the popular vote. What will happen is all of the shenanigans after that. That has nothing to do with him. It does have everything to do with the legal system in this country, that they just are not moving with urgency. What the fuck is Merrick Garland doing? I tried to give this guy.
It's not up to him though. It's not up to him. Like the judge is the judge in the trial is the person who set the trial date.
No, I'm not just talking about that. But where is Merrick Garland on prosecuting these guys for January 6th? What is happening, dude? Why are these cases moving so fucking slow? Oh, we found out the QAnon shaman got a couple months. All right, great. He's going to jail for like 3 years. Dude, where are those guys who had the cuffs on them? Like, where are those guys? Those are the former like military dude who was like, his face was like plain as fucking day. And they were like, oh, is he a bad guy? Yes, he's a fucking bad guy. Throw that guy in fucking Leavenworth, dude. Where are those guys? Like, because those are the guys, like all of the grandma who's standing there like, I'm in an insurrection. This is silly. Like, those people, whatever. As far as I'm concerned, give them fucking 10 years. Fuck those people. I don't give a shit. But those people are low on the totem pole. These big guys who were there coordinating, knew where to go. Why isn't there a major investigation about, like, publicly, that who ripped out the shit in the offices of like people who were in the squad, like ripped out the emergency buttons? Like, what happened to that? What happened to Lauren Boebert giving tours of the Capitol the night before? What happened to that shit? Like, you can't just pretend that those things don't exist. Where is the investigation? And maybe there is one, I don't know. But where's the investigation or the sense of urgency for the person who laid the pipe bombs at the DNC and the RNC? Where is that? Like, it would be good at least it would be good at least for him to brief the public just to peace of mind, like to let us know things are happening, that things are in motion. Radio silence is not effective. No,
not
and I understand the idea of like the Department of Justice does not talk about things that they're working on and stuff like that. I get that, but at the same time, you're pulling a fucking Comey here, dude. There is a serious wolf at the fucking door, and by you sticking to procedures and making sure, even though Comey fucking didn't, but that idea of like we're just calling it down the middle type of shit. When you do that, you are allowing the right wing. And it's not just like regular ass Republicans. It is these are people who coordinated this shit. You are allowing them to build a narrative that they did nothing wrong. Instead, I'd be like, look, these guys are still being prosecuted. Make no mistake, these are serious fucking crimes. These people are going to be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. Say something, dude. Something. Leak something. Jesus Christ. Anything. But the fact that they don't say anything gives space and gives rise for people like Mark Meadows and others to fill it in with bullshit. And that's a problem. It's a serious problem. Look, Democrats want to go after these guys and issue subpoenas. Stop waiting. I'd be like, you have till Friday. Come out Monday. You have till Friday. If you issue that subpoena, you have till Friday to respond. You don't respond, DOJ, let's fucking roll. Something, dude. Why is the DOJ taking so long to rule on Steve Bannon when he violated his subpoena? Why did it take them so long to issue? Oh, this is worthy of an indictment. Why? Dude,
why is it going to take them the same length of time to do it for Mark Meadows? Like, you've already established the precedent,
right,
with Steve Bannon. Like, this should be instantaneous, and then it's still probably going to take the 3 weeks that it's going to take to get to that point.
But like, what? Okay, not a legal scholar. I'm not, and I'm not going to pretend that I am. Hey, does this committee have the right to issue subpoenas? Yes, and they're legally binding subpoenas. Yes. So if someone doesn't appear for a legally binding subpoena, what happens? Well, they would be indicted. What the fuck are you waiting on? Like, that's what happened. Like, what are we waiting on? Like, oh, well, we had to check all the books to make sure. Like, if the committee is allowed to issue fucking subpoenas and you ignore a subpoena, guess what? Criminal contempt of Congress. Guess what would happen if you did it? Like, if Brad, you got a letter and you were like, fuck this, toss, and then like went on your podcast and was like, suck my dick, I'm Brad. Like, they'd be like, that's cool. They would come and grab your ass. Like,
that's
it's
the other
blatant.
thing. Again, none of this happens in a vacuum. It's not like these people are just shutting their mouths and staying quiet. Like, no, they're being like, I'm not going to talk to you, but I will go to this place and just fucking talk shit on you all day long.
I don't understand it, man. I don't understand it.
I don't either.
I don't understand not getting the sense of urgency here. Again, like we talked about last week.
And again, this is why we can't be in politics. If you were the AG and you saw someone go on their podcast and talk shit after flipping the middle finger to a congressional subpoena, be like, "Oh, word, cool. Let's let's have a chat."
Hey, why don't you call your boy Paul Manafort and ask him about a early morning no knock raid, because that shit's coming to your house tomorrow. That's what I would do, dude. No knock raids all day long. Surprise, surprise, motherfucker. Pert walk. Like, dude, we're not having this conversation. You know, we're like, you don't do what you're supposed to do, your ass is getting, like, everybody on the right, like these prominent, like, you know, was he dead now? G. Gordon Liddy. Oh, you know, the federal, you know, Gestapo will come and grab you. They never really do. How about we actually do that shit? Come and grab these fucking assholes out of their fucking gym jams and throw their ass in a paddy wagon. That's what I want to see, because they deserve it. They fucking deserve it. You can't just do whatever the fuck you want and just like not get in trouble. It's ridiculous, because the average citizen, if they did something like that, they would throw the fucking book at them. Dude, are you kidding me? Can you imagine if some left-wing person under a Trump administration was like, yeah, I'm not doing a fucking subpoena. Fuck you. They'd be like, yeah, that's cool, dude. Guess what's happening today? Your ass is going to fucking jail. By the time you got off CNN, they'd have the truck waiting for your ass out front. Like, get out of here. It's silly to me. But, yeah, so Mark Meadows is like, look, I'm not cooperating. I refuse. And so we'll see. We'll see if they wait 3 weeks to fucking indict him. It's stupid. It's fucking stupid. But fuck Mark Meadows. Fuck that guy. Yep. Next up, the squad takes the fight directly to Lauren Boebert over her anti-Muslim rhetoric. Ayanna Pressley, obviously a member of the squad. I believe we deemed her Donatello. I think so.
I think so.
I think
that sounds right.
Yeah, I think she's the Donatello of the squad. She no, is she the Donatello? No, she'd have to be, because I think Ilhan Omar is like the Michelangelo, right?
I agree. Yeah.
She's a smaller one, less powerful. I mean, obviously Rashida Tlaib is Raphael, because of course she is. I mean, it just makes sense. But yeah, Ayanna Pressley, aka Donatello, basically introduced a resolution co-signed by other progressives in the squad and otherwise, that would strip Colorado Republican nutbag Lauren Boebert of her committee assignments for her anti-Muslim and racist comments towards Democratic Representative Ilhan Omar of Minnesota. Yeah, that feels right to me. Obviously, like AOC and the rest of the squad, AOC specifically, though, came out and was like, look, House leadership has done nothing definitively on this, and it's ridiculous. And she's right. She's right. Like, they need to come out. They've like, oh, this is bad. Like, they condemned it, but they haven't put pen to paper type of shit. Like, we are going to do X, Y, and Z. And she's right. right? And like everybody who is clamoring for them to take Boebert's committee's assignments away are correct. Now, this article goes on to say that people close to Pelosi are trying to weigh what they want to do. One of the potential options is to refer the matter to the House Ethics Committee. Now, here's the thing. I don't disagree with AOC at all. I think she is absolutely right that it's ridiculous that they haven't done anything. I think they should strip her of her committee assignments immediately. I don't even think it should be a fucking question. Mm-hmm. That being said, I understand why Pelosi isn't doing that, because it says the move would be a way to avoid the cycle of leadership having to take floor action unilaterally, right? Because you're not going to get Republicans on board to say, yeah, hey, we agree with you. Like they will defend Lauren Boebert's fucking stupid ass to the hilt, right? So she doesn't want to do that.
If Kevin McCarthy could keep his house in order, Democrats wouldn't have to do anything.
Right. But that is not going to happen. So Kevin McCarthy he's never going to sign up for disciplining Lauren Boebert, right? I mean, keep in mind, last week we talked about Marjorie Taylor Greene literally walking out of a meeting that he was running. Like, suck my dick.
And it's ironic because he's doing everything he possibly can to not step on the toes of the most right-wing members of his caucus, because he's afraid that pissing them off will piss off voters and make it harder for Republicans to win the House in the midterms and therefore make him speaker. The irony of the situation being the far-right people in his caucus don't want Kevin McCarthy as speaker anyway. Like Matt Gaetz is out here like talking about like, oh, we win, we take back the House, we're going to nominate Donald Trump speaker. Like it's like Kevin McCarthy, they don't even fucking want you, man.
Yeah.
Like having more of these nutters in your caucus is not helping your cause, and not doing anything about them and curbing them is not helping your cause anyway. So you're being feckless with the aim of future power that if they have their way is not going to come your way regardless.
Right. Like, so you might as well bring the hammer down and try to save your people before the midterms. But if you bring the hammer down, you're likely to get a full-on rage fest from the nuts, and the nuts kind of run the asylum. So
right. And people, and to be clear, like, I'm a little bit sympathetic to Kevin McCarthy in this situation, because people who were actually good leaders, like John Boehner, had trouble threading this very specific needle, and Kevin McCarthy sucks. So I don't know what the fuck chance he has to balance this very delicate situation in his hands. Like, he's a fucking Nimrod. So he's like, if John Boehner couldn't figure this shit out, I don't think Kevin McCarthy has a snowball's chance in hell of figuring out, how best to keep these plates all spinning simultaneously. So I'm a little sympathetic to him because he's such a moron that he's stuck in this position, but it's one he put himself into.
Yeah, it is. Him and the rest of the party, like, they've created this nightmare. Now, I just do want to clarify, so people don't try to come for you. You said John Boehner was a good speaker. You mean or a good leader for the Republicans, not as an actual leader for in Congress. No, he was horrible. But yes, he was decent about keeping his party together, right? And that's why he
was a normal ass Republican as well.
He's a piece of shit. He's a piece of shit, but he was normal, right? But and that's why he left, right? And that's why Paul Ryan left too, because they were like, oh, this is a world we literally cannot function in because the crazy people are running the asylum. Like, it doesn't work.
Yes.
People are like, oh, they left because they left because they could not, they realized something that people like Kevin McCarthy hadn't realized, which is you cannot control these people. You cannot. Like, you can't.
It's quite amusing because being the leader of the Republican Party in Congress is almost a figurehead position at this point, with Donald Trump, like being at the head of the party, quote unquote, because no one really respects your authority. Like, say what you will about Nancy Pelosi, but all the Democrats respect Nancy Pelosi. Like, even progressives aren't shit talking Nancy Pelosi publicly or walking out of meetings in Nancy Pelosi's office, and that's being reported on. Like, they at least have respect for her.
Right.
They don't. People, like, half the Republicans don't even have an iota of respect for Kevin McCarthy as a person or as a politician
or as a person. Like, if we're being honest, not even as a person. So yeah, look, I think it's telling. I also think, like, we need to come up with a solution that is more than just stripping these people of their committee assignments. These people don't work on legislation. These people are fucking useless, right? They are there to be bomb throwers. That is what they are there to do. They are there to rile people up. They are there to say horrendous shit. They are there to get the base mobilized. They are there to cause trouble. Not allowing them in committees doesn't mean anything. Like, it just doesn't. Yeah. Do they get the vote? Yeah. So it doesn't matter, right? There needs to be a more effective thing. Like, and I don't know what that is, because I don't know what other tricks you have besides removing people from their committee assignments. I really don't.
Well, I mean, the only other thing you could do is to kick them out of Congress entirely, but that takes a 2/3 vote, which you're never going to get. So
no, it's not. So yeah, I mean, obviously that's the big solution, but we don't have that. So it's you're stuck between a rock and a hard place, right? You're taking more and more and more people out of committees, but like, these committees aren't being used for anything. The only committee that's really like doing anything of substance is the Jan 6 committee right now. Republicans don't give a fuck about anything else. Like, they want to go into those committees and fuck up the works, but other than that, if they can't get on TV to say some fucking bullshit rhetoric, it doesn't really matter for them. I mean, on to a later story. Like, it doesn't, the shit doesn't really affect them.
I will say that we did get kind of committee overload for the 4 years of the Trump presidency, because so much insane shit was happening. Right. And across a very wide spectrum of topics that committee hearings became like must-see TV. So that you could hear about the shit. And because we're back to a relatively normal presidential administration, that you just don't have the need for that much oversight anymore. And because you have competent people in cabinet positions, you don't have, need to watch like Ben Carson looking like a moron when they, when he has to go before Congress to talk about HUD and stuff like that. So
yeah, those were kind of amusing. Or watching Adam Schiff slowly go mad over the weeks. Like, I hate all of you. Like, you guys are all the worst. So yeah, I would agree. So yeah, that is sort of an outsized result of all of that. Next up, we are going to talk about how being in the House doesn't really matter if you're a Republican. Denis Nunes is leaving Congress, not at the end of his term. Today, I'm out of here. Like, I'm fucking done. Fuck this job. Effective immediately. Denis Nunes is leaving Congress to become the CEO of Trump's new social media organization called Truth Social. He will be the CEO, the chief executive officer of this. I'm saying that in a way that sounds weird because I cannot believe that you would make Denis Nunes the CEO. I thought he would be in charge of cows. That seems weird to me.
Makes sense. Now, it's worth pointing out in this story that apparently he was being tapped. So, like, if the Republicans took back the House, he is I guess right now he's the ranking member in the Ways and Means Committee for Republicans.
He would become the chairman of the Ways and Means.
Yes, he would have become the chairman. And the Ways and Means Committee is considered to be the most powerful committee in Congress because it's the one committee that doesn't have a whole lot of power sharing between it and the executive branch. Like, Congress kind of gets to pull most of the levers when it comes to Ways and Means.
That's, by the way, the Ways and Means. That's where you get rich. That's the one you want to be on. That's the one. That is how you get rich. Look, what do I say about a guy who is willing to give up that kind of power to be the CEO of a fake Twitter company / Fox News, I guess? I
mean, if you can become the CEO for a Donald Trump-backed business, I mean, the track record shows that that's bound to be a safe and very lucrative bet for you.
You should be CEO for about 3 years, and then it will go the way of dodos, Trump steaks, and Trump vodka, as you do. So, like, but here's my thing. And this article does a really good job of being quite snarky, which I appreciated, which is this is where the power of the Republican Party lies, right? It is no longer in the actual politicians who make laws, who are helping to craft legislation, but instead it is actually in the people on television, your Tucker Carlsons, for instance, or your social media, Republican social media influencers, right? Your fucking Candace Owens type folks. So it makes sense that he would move there, but it just goes to show you that this whole idea that the Republican Party, like from a politicos, are no longer important. They are completely driven by the mob.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's 1,000% true. Do you? I mean, think about this. Do you honestly think that like the final destination for like your Matt Gaetzes and your Marjorie Taylor Greenes and your Lauren Boeberts is a greater position in the House of Representatives? No, they're going to be there for 4 to 6 years until some lucrative like pundit job or something with Trump media comes along to pay them a shitload of money to just let them do the same shit they do in Congress, but they don't have all these rules and regulations that they have to abide by in order to do it.
I think you are 100% correct.
Okay, that's the end of the free portion for this week's episode of Look Forward. Make sure you go to lookforwardshow.com/premium. Sign up for premium content. It's only $5 a month or $50 for the full year.